good luck. You're going to build one of the largest operations in the world, over 20 million feet. Good luck. I gave it to Scott Walker. He literally didn't have to make a phone call to me for the last year and a half. He is an unbelievably talented guy. I'm telling you, Scott Walker. Scott, come here. Is Scott around, please? Scott Walker. Governor Scott Walker, come here. Come here. Two things in addition to whatever he said, he should say.
Well, thanks, Mr. President. You mentioned you got the ball rolling. Foxconn would not be in America if not for you. Back in April 27th, when you met with Terry Goh and told him about not only being in America, but told him there was that pretty good site. That's an honest truth. In fact, Reince Priebus will tell you, he looked at that site. The only thing we said was we got to get a bigger site than that because this is much bigger than we ever thought. And your team in the White House, Jared, your cabinet, everybody was just hands on deck. Great team effort here, and we couldn't be more proud to have Foxconn's 8K technology LCD panels for the first time ever outside of Asia, made in the USA, proudly here in the state of Wisconsin. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We love you, man. So I gave Scott the ball, and he carried the ball, and if that were football standards, NFL standards, he ran for about 2,000 yards in one game. Special guy, special talent. Forget about special guy. He's a special talent. So I hope he doesn't run against me, because that comment will come back to haunt me. He is a special talent and a special person. As Foxconn has discovered, there is no better place to build, hire, and grow than right here in the United States. America is open for business more than it has ever been open for business. Between our low taxes, our cutting of regulations, and we're not finished with the regulation. And we'll have regulation, but it's sensible regulation. You'll be able to get things approved quickly or disapproved. Sometimes it's going to be disapproved. We have clean air. We have crystal clean water. We're going to do all of the things you have to do, but we're going to speed up the process. You have people that wanted to build a plant like this. It would have taken them 25 years to get approvals. 25 years. They got them almost immediately. And the federal government had a lot to say. We had to get going, and they did. And here we are, and they're starting other sections right now. So we're open for business, made in the USA. It's all happening, and it's happening very, very quickly. We've created 3.4 million jobs since the election, including over 300,000 manufacturing jobs. And as you saw, the recent poll just came out, the highest percentage of happiness by manufacturers in the history of the poll, which is a very old poll. Unemployment claims are the lowest they've been in 44 years. Unemployment for African Americans is at the lowest level in history. Unemployment for Hispanic Americans, the lowest level in history. Unemployment among women, and I've been saying it, it's just changed today, is at the lowest level, and I've been telling you 21 years. It's now at the lowest level in 65 years, and it's going to be in history very soon. History sounds even better. For the workers, after 20 years, wages are rising. Remember, I used to say they did better 20 years ago than they did 2 years ago. Now they're starting to do better, and they're having their choice of jobs where they can enjoy what they're doing. And a recent study found that 95% of manufacturers, they want to get going, and they're going to get going. And we have a lot of these things happening in the United States, but to me, this is always going to be the special one, because people that are highly sophisticated, business people that have come out, looked. I had a friend came out 2 weeks ago because he heard about it. He is a highly sophisticated business person that you all know. He could not believe it. He called me up, and he would love to tell me, it's nothing. He's that kind of a guy. Not really a nice guy, but he's a great businessman. He could not believe what he's seen. We are demanding from foreign countries, friend and foe, we have been of as a country. We've lost our companies. We've lost our jobs. They build a product, they send it in. That's why this is so beautiful, because this is as great as there is anywhere in the world, and we do it within our country. And I just want to let you know, we've put tariffs on steel and aluminum. Those businesses are through the roof. U.S. Steel called me up. They're expanding or opening 6 plants. They haven't done that in 35 years. Georgetown Steel in South Carolina closed 4 years ago, closed and shuttered. They're open for business, 600 people. That's happening all over the country, all over the country. So I want to level out, and I'm doing it, level out the playing field. And all of the things you hear, some, I mean, frankly, the smart people love it. Some people don't understand it. But we're going to be treated fairly. When our great farmers in Iowa, Wisconsin, Upper New York State, when we want to sell our dairy products into Canada, they charge us 275%. 275%. Essentially what they're saying is, we don't want your product. Because who's going to pay that? So we're going to level out the playing fields, folks. They send us a lot of stuff. No tax. We're going to work it out. It's going to be friendly. We love Canada. We love Canada. I love Canada. But we're going to work it out. Mexico, last year, made $100 billion, plus they have a 17% almost VAT tax that nobody even thinks about. So we were behind the 8 ball, because that tax was there at the beginning. Right from the beginning, we were behind the 8 ball. Mexico wants to make a deal. We're going to make a deal with a lot of people. China. I have a lot of respect for China. I think it's great. And President Xi, I think he's great. He's a friend of mine. But we lost $500 billion over the last number of years. $500 billion a year. We've helped rebuild China. Someday they'll say thank you. But we don't want to do that anymore. We want to have a fair and balanced situation. And it doesn't have to happen immediately, but it has to be fair. Because our country has never done better than it's doing right now. European Union, last year, trade imbalance. We had a deficit of $151 billion. They send us Mercedes. They send us by the millions, the BMWs, cars by the millions. We send them a bushel of corn and they reject it. They have a barrier. They don't want our corn. Because they have their farmers. Okay, I understand. But, you know, if you don't want our agricultural product, we don't want your cars. I mean, you know, it's not such a complicated formula. And they're going to come back and they're going to say, let's talk. Frankly, don't tell them I said it, but they already have. Don't ever tell them I said that. You'll screw up my negotiations. But we're doing good. European Union, they're great. They're great people. And it'll all work out. Many, many other cases. We've actually made a deal with South Korea. We took the deal. I expired it. It was a terrible deal. It was supposed to give us 250,000 jobs, done by Hillary Clinton. And she was right. It did give 250,000 jobs. So she was right. It gave it to South Korea, not to us. This was not a good deal. But we've renegotiated the deal, and subject to signing. I always say subject to signing because lots of things happen. And if it did happen, that's fine. But we made a new deal with South Korea. Wonderful deal for both. And our farmers now are protected. And our tariff, which has been paid for years, which was expiring, has now been extended for a long period of time on trucks. At the center of America's economic resurgence are the massive tax cuts that I signed into law 6 months ago. We slashed tax rates for individuals, and we did numbers for business. We did tremendous, tremendous amount of work. And it's the largest tax cut ever approved, ever gotten in the history